Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Chris Green, and I'm the co-founder of the Practice Launchpad, a startup coaching and consulting group. And I wanted to share with you today a little bit more about our deliverables. Some of these are new videos to help you on your startup journey, whether you are going to do it yourself or you're looking for somebody by your side. We have resources that are available to you that'll help you along the way with the startup process, help you get there faster with less frustration, using the right vendors, building the right team, and just less headaches with the process. But ultimately, startups can be very expensive, and we have a lot of techniques and ideas to help you save money with this process. I look at dental startups in three phases. There's the plan, there's the project, and there's the practice. And in the slides here, we will get into what I mean and what steps are included in each phase. So let's get into it. This is going to be an overview of the dental startup process. This is an intro to help you understand more about our startup training program. And we have video training so you could do it on your own at your own pace. In other words, learn the steps, learn the techniques, learn all the things that you need to know so that it's not a mystery. My name, a little bit of my background, Dr. Chris Green. As I said, I'm a third generation dentist. I launched a startup in 2018 in Parker, Colorado. We started with 6 operatories and we grew to $4.6 million in revenue within those 6 operatories within 5 years. Consistently, our overhead was 42% or even lower for certain periods of time. And we consistently see 125 new patients a month. So I was very fortunate, and I'm going to share with you the exact steps that I took to achieve that and ultimately free myself from clinical dentistry. So again, I'm a co-founder of the Practice Launchpad here, the startup coaching group, alongside my partner, Dr. Mark Costas. Many of you would know him or have listened to his podcast. He has probably the most popular, most successful, and what I believe the best dental practice ownership podcast out there. He has owned 16 practices over the years across Arizona and California. He's a keynote speaker. He's the founder of many businesses, including the Dental Success Institute, Dental Success Network, Colorado Surgical Institute, and more. And he's also a best-selling author. So proud to be partners with this man. He's a great resource for us, and he's helped the Practice Launchpad quite a bit over the years. So why practice ownership? First of all, getting into practice ownership is a decision in itself, whether it's a startup or acquisition. Most people pursue this because, we got into dentistry for a reason. We want autonomy, clinical and cultural autonomy, and we want to have a greater impact on our team and patients in a way that feels good to us. The second biggest reason would be freedom, time and financial freedom. We worked really hard to get through dental school. We've worked really hard as dental associates, and we'll work really hard to get our practice off the ground and get it ramped up. But ultimately, the practice is an engine to serve our life, what we want to do. So by having a successful practice, we can create more time for ourselves. If we have a business that can run when we're not there, we can explore whatever we want with our families, hobbies, vacations, etc. So those are the 2 main reasons to get into practice ownership. But making the decision to pursue a dental startup is not for the faint of heart. So common reasons that dentists will choose the startup path are, first and foremost, a desire for practice ownership. We talked about autonomy. You can implement your own vision via systems, culture, and the style and feel of the practice. Everything's brand new, which is nice, as opposed to an acquisition where you're acquiring used equipment, used everything else as far as IT and things like that. And the design might not be exactly what you would envision for yourself. So one of the reasons I pursued a startup was a lack of acquisitions that were very attractive in the area. We're seeing a lot more of the most attractive practices going to DS. So a startup may be the best path for you forward to become a practice owner. And one of the most important things if you're going to go through a startup is having a deep belief in yourself, your skill set, and a belief that you will succeed. But there are some challenges when we go from scratch. When we start from scratch, we don't have any patients. We have no employees yet. It can be an expensive process. there's project management, and it can be a lonely journey. So our goal through these resources, through these videos, is to help you understand the steps, help you manage the project accordingly, and set yourself up for success from day one so you can hit the ground running. So startup project, the timeline, it's typically going to take 9 to 13 months. We offer, that's just a traditional gray shell of a space that you're going to rent and build out the inside. So that's just the interior build out, the tenant improvements. That would be 9 to 13 months from the point of getting the loan secured through lease negotiations and everything else. And if you find a practice a dental office that was dental practice before, and you could save on construction, assuming the demographics and it checks all the other boxes, we call that a jumpstart practice, and that can go a lot faster because you've avoided the construction costs. So we've successfully helped people navigate those situations as well. Demographics and the site selection can be a major variable for your timeline. I've seen people that can find a location that's a home run from a demographics analytics standpoint and also find a lease space in short order. And I've seen other projects where it takes a long time to pick the right location, a long time to find a lease space. They start lease negotiations. The landlord, we find out, is trying to screw over the doctor, and they actually have to abandon that space, pivot to a new space, and start over with LOIs and lease negotiations, etc. So this is why I believe demographics and site selection, which is probably the most important decision to your early success with patient acquisition. It can take a while, but it's important to be discerning in that phase. And then, of course, ground up, whether you're building ground up and going to own the building, or if you're going into a new commercial real estate project where they're building ground up and they say, hey, it's going to be delivered in August of 2026, and then delays, they sell the land, they don't break ground, all these variables. And I've seen dentists that went into projects like this, they were going to be a tenant, and all of a sudden there's no building 2 years later, and they've wasted all this time. I'm not saying it's going to happen every time that way, but it does happen more often than you think. I've seen it happen actually a handful of times. And so this can be a less predictable path to go, but sometimes you're at the mercy of what commercial real estate is available in the area that you want to open the practice. So the timeline, lending, demographics, and site selection, that can take 2 to 4 months on average. The LOI, or the letter of intent that you submit to say, hey, I want to rent out your 2,000 square foot space or whatever, plus lease negotiations that follow the LOI, that can take 6 to 10 weeks. The floor plan design, I would start this during lease negotiations. That usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. And then fully engineered floor plan and permits with the architects and the city, that's going to take about 4 weeks. Bidding out the contractors is probably done somewhere during the prior steps, and it can take a couple weeks as well. And then construction, anywhere from 12 to 18 weeks. More often, we're closer to the 18 mark these days, the way construction moves. So you want to start with a budget. I mean, these are not cheap projects. Back in 2018, a startup, you could do it for around $500,000. Now, pretty much guaranteed to spend $650,000 plus. The average startup's probably costing $700,000, or even in some markets, we're seeing $800,000 and $900,000. So you have to be very careful with how you're spending that startup loan, because you will quickly realize, how am I going to stay within the confines of this loan that the banks approved me for? So this is our startup budgeting spreadsheet. These are all the expenses that you're going to have to account for and think about. So the one thing is, you want to leave a little bit money left over at the end for what we call working capital, which is basically money set aside to help the business get off the ground prior to having cash flow from patients and insurance companies. So typically that's going to be used towards marketing and payroll and any other expenses that start coming in month one. Okay, I mentioned at the beginning 3 phases towards practice ownership. So phase 1 is the plan, phase 2 the process, and phase 3 the practice. So the plan. So what our offer is, we have recorded in-depth videos that have supporting documents and checklists that will help you navigate this startup process very easily with very few surprises. And really, there's only so many steps. It's like a recipe. A startup is a recipe with boxes to check and things to be aware of. And the goal is to get to opening day and start seeing patients. So hopefully you only have to do this process once in your life, and then the rest is patient care and growing a successful practice. So what is the plan? So the plan would be developing your vision, a business plan, analyzing demographics and site selection, securing lending. And there's a lot of things you want to look at when you go to secure a loan. And there's certain banks that we like and we could talk to you about, but the purpose of this is not to make any recommendations at this time. And then real estate, whether you're going to go through lease negotiations or real estate ownership, we provide checklists, what to watch out for. And in these videos, we go really in depth on all of these topics. So each video package has a price point. So that package is $19.97. I'll also show you the discount if you want to buy all the packages at once. The project. So this is the middle phase of the startup. This is where we start making IT and software decisions. I've seen IT costs. I've seen bids $50,000 to $80,000 for startups. That's ridiculous. We're going to go through our exact process of how you analyze these bids and how you chop them down below $30,000. So right there, you're going to save a ton of money. Then we talk about the space, so the build out, how to look at a floor plan, all the measurements to consider, and the design considerations to have an efficient floor plan and also get the most operatory possible. Architecture, we talk about construction, how to manage a construction project, how to hold contractors accountable, how to save money on construction. I have tons of ideas that we'll share with you in those videos. Dental equipment considerations. You're going to see that this is one of the biggest line items on your budget, and I have a lot of unique and strong opinions on this, but also the point being we want you to have quality equipment within your budget. Supplies and instruments, we have checklists so hey, how many prophy kits do I need? How many restorative kits do I need? What are each of the oral surgery instruments that I need? What is an initial startup supply list look like? I have checklists. We've done the work for you, save you time from going through catalogs and wasting all sorts of precious time on what to do. And plus, we also have discount codes to save money on all of these vendor decisions. Finally, the practice. One of the most important, this is the most important piece. The plan and the project part are all setting us up towards opening day, and the practice is the team, the marketing, the business acumen that's going to help take this practice to the heights that you want it to go to. The production levels, the overhead levels, the take-home pay that you deserve for taking on this risk of becoming a practice owner. So in those videos, this is $3,497 for this package. It's very detailed. It's the longest of the bunch, but it's the most important. We will talk about hiring and onboarding step-by-step systems to find the right people and then properly onboard them and get them up to speed inside your practice. So from day one, you could hit the ground running. Human resources, so basically managing, all the liability that comes with having employees. We will go step by step how to set up a dental insurance department. I don't know about you, but one of the most daunting things for me was how am I going to navigate dental insurance? This is confusing. The office I'm an associate at just handles it. Well, we've demystified that whole process. We have a manual and we have documents that go step by step through how to do this, so you could train literally anybody to manage it and do it very well so that we can have predictable patient portions, more predictable payments and in a timely fashion from insurance providers, and manage our AR and all the things that come with cash flow for the business, because this is the backbone. This is where the money comes. This is how we pay the bills, pay our employees, and pay ourselves ultimately. Practice management, we go into great detail on all the core foundational elements you need to run a great practice. And finally, most important thing for a startup, marketing. The goal is to have 100 new patients scheduled before opening day. And I will tell you, the last 5 private clients I've had have had 150 or more new patients scheduled before opening day. And there's a specific process that they follow that I've implemented with many, many clients over the last 5-6 years, and it works. So we will give you that process in those videos. So that's it. The plan, the project, the practice. If you want to dip your toe in, you can start with one of the video packages and see what we're all about, see if it's a good fit, see if it's helpful. Or if you know that this is the right decision for you, you could save about $1,500 and buy the whole package of videos. This is going to include all the supporting documents, all the checklists, all the things that we give our private clients. So we've offered this because a lot of people want to DIY the startup process these days. Everyone's scared about spending money on consultants and things like that. They really can't see how consultants are going to save them money, even though I could prove to you time and time again how that works. I want to have a deliverable to get this information out there so people can have successful startups with spending less money, but also just with fewer headaches, and get to profitability as quickly as humanly possible. So if you just choose to do the video options and see our in-depth trainings, I don't know, there's going to be probably, I don't know how many hours of content, but it's very detailed. There's nothing that's not in there that you would need to know. It's everything you need to know and more. But if you wanted to get on some one-on-one coaching calls with me, we have a 4-call package for $19.97. And finally, we do still do one-on-one coaching. So one-on-one coaching covers all that. You get all the manuals, you get unlimited calls, unlimited texts and email support from us. And like I said, the results speak for themselves as far as the startup docs that we've had. So we're still offering that, and that is $6,000 down and then $2,500 a month for as long as you need us. You could join us at any point in your process. We have designed this specifically, so if you've already started and signed a lease, you're not going to be out any extra expense. I know a lot of other companies are charging a lot of money, and it's the same amount of money whether you join them at the vision and demographics point in the process or you join them in the middle of construction. So some of you may start the process, get to lease negotiations, and realize you want somebody by your side. We're happy to help at whatever phase makes sense. And also, you have the video resources here that you could purchase. So remember, a startup requires you to have a team around you that's going to help you succeed. So industry experts that you're going to want on your team. Of course, I have people that I will recommend to our clients that I trust, that are fair, that are honest, and aren't trying to take advantage of our doctors. But that's more to be shared with private clients, those connections. But if you're out there vetting people yourself, you're going to need somebody on your legal team, a CPA, brokers, lenders, equipment specialists, marketing companies. These are all key team members for you. Trusted vendors. Along this process, you're going to feel like, boy, I'm signing up for stuff every day. That's more money. I just signed up for another monthly subscription for whatever it is this time. Oh, everybody on Facebook says that you need to now have AI to analyze your x-rays, blah, 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 blah. It is exhausting. So here's a list of some of the trusted vendors you're going to need. For people that work with us, we have pre-vetted out all the vendors. We don't just tell you, go use this person. We give 2, 3, sometimes in the case of marketing, 6 to 7 options. It's not cookie cutter. It's just people that we trust and we can offer to you to save you time and energy of having to go out there and vet out and make decisions. You will experience decision fatigue at some point in this process. So our goal is to fold time for you, so you have to make fewer decisions, or we get you to the best decision quicker to save you some time and energy, so when you get to opening day, you're still fired up and ready to go and see patients and spin the handpiece. We have a 190-point startup checklist. I mean, this covers every single thing that you need to remember. Believe me, you're not going to remember it all on your own. You need a checklist. Otherwise, you're going to miss steps. You'll get to 6 weeks into your startup and you'll be like, I can't believe I forgot to do that. So this checklist is available to anyone who signs up and fills up a form on our website. and we could get that out to you. So while you're watching our startup videos, I have a series of books and manuals that will support the process as well. These manuals are 300 pages typically, give or take. So we have the Dental Office Manager Position Manual, the Dental Financial Coordinator Manual, and the Complete Dental Assistant Manual. Myself and Dr. Addison Killeen have built these manuals with the exact systems and processes that we've used to build very successful practices that collect upwards of 5 million in our case and 7 million in his case. And we're also coming out with the Dental Hygienist Manual next. So you can get those on Amazon. They are not included in the video package. So we recommend if you buy the video, you also buy some of these manuals, and I'll show you in specific slides like, hey, you're going to want to reference the Dental Assistant Manual for this section of the video. So these are great for anybody that signs up for private coaching. You get these included in private coaching. And I have a new book out, The Plan, the Project, the Practice. This is sort of like a field manual, checklist of sorts for somebody who's like, hey, I'm not looking to spend any money on anything. I'm just going to, put my head down and figure this out myself. I don't care if it takes me longer or costs me more money. This is more of a reference for you if you're looking for a resource for startups, or if you're a dental student or an associate right now and you're like, hey, maybe in a few years I'm thinking about doing a startup, this would be a great book to just pick up and comb through for reference to give you some confidence towards doing a dental startup. This is just some advice for anybody taking on a startup. You gotta check boxes every week. You're keeping track of vendors. You are following up. You will ask someone, hey, can you look into this? A week later, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, wait, that person never got back to me on that very important piece of information that I needed, that I sent an email to them about a week ago. So then you find yourself following up, holding people accountable. It is exhausting. And one of the biggest frustrations of the startup process that I hear from docs is like, hey, I'm doing my job, I'm paying somebody to do their job, yet I'm having to hold them accountable. So this productivity sheet, having something like this to track all the steps and to make sure things are getting done and hold people accountable, can be very valuable. You might even, when you're watching our videos, you might even create an email called, for example, greenstartupnotes@gmail.com. I might take screenshots of certain things and email it to myself so I could remember that specific thing along with, the notes I might be taking. So that's just a piece of advice that helped me be very productive and check all the boxes during the process. Here's a full list of the deliverables. Again, for any private clients, this is all included. The video packages, the startup checklist, the document vault. We have an 800-page startup document manual, which a lot of those documents, most of them will be available depending on what video package you get. You can download all the supporting documents for that. So that's another, and all the checklists. So that'll come with the videos, on. And we do construction, equipment, and IT bid negotiations for you to help you save money. There's a few more, so all these books and resources are available to you. Finally, some free resources if you want to learn more about us, see if our style fits your vision or fits your philosophies, and you want to indulge in more of our resources. You might just go to our YouTube page and watch some of the. Also, these are all the podcasts we've done on the Dentalpreneur related to startups. So whether you're trying to get a better feel for if we are the right group to work with, or if you're just dipping your toe in, trying to figure out if you're going to go the startup or acquisition route, this might help you get more clarity on that decision. So those are the free resources. Those are the episode numbers listed here. So thank you. If you're interested, go ahead and reach out to us at the practicelaunchpad@gmail.com. And if you'd like to purchase any of the videos, you can do that immediately right here on the website. I thank you for your time. If you have any questions or just want more information, let us know.